Hi everyone, Amber here from Majestic. Welcome back to my channel. Happy New Year. We are after the new year, or at least I am when I'm filming this. We are on clue 6, so month 6 of Cotton Cuts Puzzle Mystery Quilt Under the Sea. It did release the last Friday in December, but I was spending time with family, so I'm sewing it up in January. So if you celebrate any of the December holidays, I hope that you had a great holiday and a very happy new year. So for this month, we are sewing up 2 sections. We have our 6A section, and you're actually sewing up 4 of these. I have not seen the economy blocks really since we did Flyway. So it was kind of nice to do these. I really like how Flyway turned out, so I can't wait to see how these are going to fit into the Under the Sea quilt. And then we have our 6B section, and you're going to end up with 2 of these. So I am really enjoying it. The signups are open for the next Puzzle Mystery Quilt. I am going to be sewing up a large awakening. So let me know in the comments if you are going to join in the fun. It's going to start shipping in February, so I am looking forward to that so much, and I hope you'll be joining me there. Enjoy the tutorial. All right, so we are on month 6. We have 4 of section 6A and 2 of section 6B. I have all my pieces laid out here where it's off camera. I have my color card, my pressing mat, and iron, and I'm sewing on my Singer 5528 with a 7010 universal needle and using some Gutermann thread. All right, so we haven't really done a lot of these economy blocks. The last Puzzle Mystery Quilt, if you participated in Flyway, had a ton in the large size. So we haven't done too many here. I'm going to be making one of each of these like I normally do. So let's get going on that. I will be cutting all these numbers down to 1. If you're making all 4, you want to make 4. Okay, so to start, I need a large B square. And actually, I feel like we've gotten kind of far along where I really don't need to do step 1, 2. Like, I can do them both at the same time. We're making 2 different economy squares. So one of them, they both have the B, large B square. And then one of them has F fabric all the way around. And one of them has D fabric all the way around. So I'm just going to actually sew them at the same time, because these take a while to sew, because you have to like do opposite sides, then press them open. So this way at least I can sew 2 at once. Okay, and then this is my D fabric, that bright orange. All right, perfect. So this way I'm doing all my steps at once. So I'm going to start in the top right, and it doesn't matter if I start with the D, the one that has the D triangles or the one that has the F, as long as I'm not mixing up the 2, then I should be good. And I also like sewing 2 at once, so that way it doesn't get sucked down into my feed dogs. Because we are centering this, the triangle on the end hangs over a little bit, and sometimes that makes it want to get sucked into my feed dogs. So this first piece acts like a leader and really does help pull that second piece through. Making sure I trim everything down, and then gently pressing these open. And I always press from the back first and then gently fold them open. So now you want to make sure that you're grabbing your correct fabric. So for here, I want to go on the opposite side of the one that I already did and just making sure I'm grabbing the D triangle, not accidentally mixing them up. And the same thing over here for our F triangle. You can clip these if you need to. Okay, and the same thing here, pressing these open. Great. So now we're going to continue the same steps with the two opposite sides. So I'm going to start here, fold this in, and now you'll see that I don't have the little overhang of the triangles anymore, because when I line this up, it will match right in with the other two triangles. So it makes it a little bit easier to sew, less likely to get sucked down in. And you might notice as I'm sewing this part overlaps, but where I'm stitching didn't overlap. So it can be a little bit tricky, especially if you don't normally sew them two at a time. Okay, and press these open. These are very tedious to make, but I love how they look in the long run. Okay, and now we're going to add our last side in. Same thing, just taking the time to really line up that edge. And since if you're making all four of these at once, sewing them like this will make it go much quicker. You could sew all 8 of them at the same time and just chain stitch the 8. I always do one tutorial, like a full length like this. And then the others, I usually sew up on a live. And so that's what I did for my Tuesday night live. I just did the other 3 blocks and just chain stitch them all together at once. Okay, so this is our last side here, and we are going to nicely press these open. Right, so now I have my step 1 and my step 2 completed, and 3 and 4. Because you can see here, step 1 is the first 2 sides, and then step 2 is the other 2 of the F. Step 3 was the first 2 sides, and then step 4 is the other 2. So now we are going to put them together. So I actually want my step 4 on the left of step 2. So I want the D triangles on the left-hand side. And we're going to sew these together. And you can see that we have the point here. It kind of blends in with the raven. So I'm going to put them right sides together. And so what I do is I'm just going to fold this back on itself and make sure that I am aligning up that little triangle there. And sometimes they move, sometimes they're not so perfect, but I want to try to get it as accurate as possible. Then I'll clip out the rest of the sides. All right, and then for this last step, we are pressing our seams to the right towards the S triangle side. Right, and then gently opening that up. And I don't want to tug it, but I do want to make sure that it opens enough. And my points line up pretty good. It's not quite as pointy on this right side where the seams are going, but that's okay. Or for me, it's okay. And there's a lot of fabric. There's 6 different fabrics coming together at that point. So this finishes up your 6A block, and you should have 4 of these. All right, so now we'll be working on our 6B section. There are 2 of them. So I will be cutting down each of these measurements in half since I'll be filming only one of them. So for step 1, I need an A triangle and an F, and I'm going to need 2 of them. And I just want to be mindful that I'm laying it out correctly. The A and the F fabric on the Davy Jones, they both have this cream background. So just be mindful. Put them right sides together. I don't think I've really switched them up too much, which is funny because they both have the cream background. And last puzzle mystery quilt and flyaway, for whatever reason, I always mixed up the yellow and the orange. I kept thinking one was fabric C and it was really D, and vice versa. Okay, and the same thing over here. I love sewing them both at the same time, especially with the little triangle points. And both of these are going to get pressed towards our F triangle, which is the side, the left side with the raven, if you are making the Davy Jones colorway. Gently open these up. Okay, and now for step 2, we need to join a small A square to the top of them. So it will line up, you'll know you did it correctly because it will match up with our A triangle. And like I've said previously, I've kind of mixed up the orientation of the directional fabrics. That way when it's all together, we don't really know which way they will be turned. All right, and the same thing here, putting them right side together. I'm always mindful, especially when I'm not clipping them, that I'm sewing the correct side. And just trimming all my threads. And for both of these, they are being pressed, the seams are being pressed towards the square, so towards the top. Gently opening them. And same thing here on the left. Okay, and I'm going to set them to the side for a minute. That is our step 2. So now for step 3, you're going to make 8. So I will be making 4. We need a C square and a D square. So I'm just going to lay them out. I think 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, yeah. So instead of laying them out, I'm just going to grab them one at a time, put them right sides together, just making sure that they are actually right sides together, because sometimes when they're die cut, they're not always right side facing up. And this is great because they're squares, so they sew up very nicely. Yeah, so you can see on these 2 squares how the fabrics are facing each other, and that's just because the fabric's folded when they are die cut. So making sure when I take these here that I am putting them right sides together. And same thing over here. And so nice because you don't waste as much thread. It saves you time. And then just clip these apart. And they're so close together that I don't need to trim down any thread between them. So now all of these are being pressed towards our C fabric. So for Davy Jones Locker, that is this pretty pinkish purple. My eyes can't determine if it's pink or purple. Sometimes it looks pink to me, and then sometimes it looks, in certain lights, it looks more purple. Gently open it. And I'm just stacking them for now, because in step 4, we're going to be sewing them together. Again, gently open that up here. All right, so I have all of them pressed towards the C side. And now for step 4, we are just rotating one of them. So I'm going to pull this one over and then rotating to the bottom. So my C is in the top left and the bottom right. And same thing here. This just means that our seams will now nest. So I'm going to put them right sides together. Because they rotated, the seams are nesting. So I'm going to clip that first and then clip the rest of my block. And hopefully those points stay lined up really nicely. And do the same thing over here. I always put it so that way it's turned towards me. So if I need to flip it back like this, I can. And I can see. And then again, clipping all the way out along the edge. And I'm going to sew both of these at the same time as well. And I don't pull the center clip off until I'm very close to it, so that way it's less likely that that center shifts on me. Right? And then same thing here, just trimming everything. And we want our seams pressed going down. So our C square is on the bottom right. So I'll give a nice press from the back. And then gently open them. And yeah, that matched up perfect. It didn't move on me. So I'm very, very happy with how that center lined up. Do the same thing for this side. Gently open them. Okay. And now we have our step 4 completed. Now, step 5, there's a 5.1 and a 5.2. For both of these, we are just adding one of our step 2s to the left. So that way our A square is on the top and the half square triangles are on the bottom. The only difference is once we sew it, one of our seams are going to be pressed to the left. That's 5.1. And 5.2, they're going to be pressed to the right. So as far as sewing, it's the same thing. So I'm going to put them right sides together, turn it towards me so I can see it. If you have followed the pressing instructions, your seams nest and they should line up perfectly. And then clipping all the way out. And same thing over here. And putting this right sides together. Again, just turning it towards me so that way I can see where the seams come together, where they nest, and then lining up that long edge. Okay, and so now we are going to bring them to the machine. And bring this one over as well. I'm just trimming my thread. So now one of these, I'm going to press my seams towards the left. I'm going to do that for this first one. That's going to be my 5.1. Gently opening it. And perfect. They lined up, stayed lined up. So I'm very happy about that. And I just like to make sure that sometimes my seams want to like flip back on themselves, so I will double check it. And then for this one here, 5.2, I'm pressing them to the right. Same thing, opening it, making sure that my seams don't flip back on themselves, giving it a nice press. Okay, and so this is 5.1. I'm going to put 5.2 underneath it because our next step, we don't need these quite yet. So for step 6, we need a B triangle and an A triangle. You're going to make 2. I'm making one of them and put them right sides together. Just making sure I'm taking my time and aligning these. And these are going to have our seams pressed towards the A triangle side, so towards the left. Gently open that up. Okay, that is step 6. And for step 7, we are just taking our A rectangle and joining it to the left here. And again, you'll make 2 of them. I'm making 1 for this block. And just making sure that I have the correct side aligned. And for this one here, we are pressing towards the left, towards that larger rectangle side. Okay, so that is step 7. Now, for step 8, we are joining them all together, and we kind of already have them laid out. We need 5.1 up top, which I already have. That's where my seams are pressed to the left. Then I need to put 5.2 underneath it. And at the very bottom, I need to add our last step 7 with the A rectangle on the left. And I'm just going to work. You can work from the top down or the bottom up. Just because it's more easy, it's easier within my reach. I'm going to work from the bottom. I only have this one seam here to match up. So I'm going to do that first because the rectangle, there's no seam to match anyways. So these will be nested perfectly. So just clip there first and then clip out. And you might notice that your rectangle is a little bit bigger. If that's the case, it's because of the seam allowance you took when you sewed these blocks. Mine is slightly bigger. I just hide it in the seam allowance. I don't trim anything down. So you can see over here, well, it's just barely bigger. So it's not something that I worry about at all. And that's just because I take the full 1/4 inch instead of a scant 1/4 inch. I'm just going to double check my pressing. Yeah, so my pressing instructions, I am pressing the seams down towards that A rectangle. Okay, so now our last thing is we are attaching this top part here. And we have 2 seams that are matching up. So I definitely need to be more mindful here. So I'm going to put them right sides together, but then turn it so I can really see them and make sure that they are aligned. And if you have followed the pressing instructions, they will nest. So I'm clipping those seams first that nest perfectly, and then clipping out the rest of the edge. I'll bring that to the machine. And for this one here, we are pressing our seams to the top. And you can see that kind of folded. So sometimes I press the seams if I notice they're lifting up elsewhere. And then gently open this. And I'm so happy they lined up perfect. They stayed lined up. So this looks great. Good. So this finishes our 6B block. All right, so we have just finished up month 6. We have 4 sections of our 6A and 2 sections of our 6B. So again, I hope you found the tutorial helpful. I will have a link in the description if you would like to sign up for the next Puzzle Mystery Quilt. It is going to start shipping in February 2026. So if you are catching this now, which is January 2025, there is still time to sign up. I will be sewing the Large Awakening. Thank you to Cotton Cuts for allowing me to be an ambassador again. I'm so looking forward to the reveal of Under the Sea and cannot wait to start the next one. So I'll see you next time. Bye.